Hello, can somebody hear me?
Loud and clear. Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm with this place.
Yes. Oluwatosin is also on the call.
So yeah, Dario, can I start?
Yes, go ahead. You can start.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. Oluwatosin Nelson is on the call. She's our speaker for today.
Hi Nelson. Oh, hi Tosin. Sorry, I'm sure Nelson is your surname.
Well, Nelson is my surname. Hello.
Yeah. Thank you for blessing us with your beautiful face. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a
Hello everyone. Happy New Year. This is our first fireside for the year, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Pro Bar Fireside series. And it's where we deep dive into the world of product management and innovation. Um, I'm your host. I'm Akone Muidin, a senior product manager at B3, and I'm also a proud member and moderator at Proba. So yeah, today we have a special guest, someone who has been in the product management realm for years. It's fine. I stumbled on your LinkedIn profile, so I'm announcing myself as a stalker. It's fine. So yeah, and I mean, it's amazing how you've switched from different industries, and now you're at the health sector. Um, Thank you for accepting to come into this episode, and apologies for we ought to have met earlier last year, but then we just decided to just end it up last year and start new afresh. Somebody super good at I mean, it's a more senior person for product management. Um, yeah, Oluwatosin Nelson. Do you want to like do a little introduction by yourself? What's your journey like into product management um, 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 profession? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Muhyiddin. I hope I got that right. Yeah, I think I did. So, um, my name is Oluwatosin, right? As everybody knows already by now. um, Product for me, right? I would say it has been a journey, right? Product management found me. I I'm currently a product manager at Reliance Health. I'm currently with the enterprise sales brand and growth team. Um, I started out as the PM for customer success slash user experience, and I transitioned in December last year into enterprise brand and growth. So my journey started as an educator, right? So I don't have any technical background. Neither did I plan or step out or look like I didn't actually have the plan to go into product management. I used to tell some people that if I know what I know today, I probably wouldn't have done product, right? But funny enough, I do enjoy it, even though I'll make noise sometimes. But yeah, I still do enjoy product.
It's
One of
fine to
those
say.
ranting, yeah. So I studied to be an educator. I studied English language in the university, and done, right, I actually did try to practice. I did a couple of years in two different schools. I even went for graduate. So I began, I was worried that there was something wrong I wasn't getting. I wasn't feeling it. But I thought I needed to learn something more. So I applied for a graduate training program. I was the team lead for my cohort. Um, and it was actually a fun ride. I saw another side of education I never saw, right? Being a 21st century teacher, like a whole lot of techniques. I was like, okay, so yeah, there was actually more. But one thing I found that was still even in that training, once they say, okay, it's time for the actual class practices, I was not enthusiastic about that. I enjoyed managing the entire team, speaking with stakeholders, our facilitators versus school management. I enjoyed those, but when it was time for the actual practices, right, I didn't really enjoy it. I took a break to have my daughter, and during that time, I was looking at that. That was when I actually came to the realization that I didn't want to be an educator in that like professional sense. I still teach, so yeah, I still do that, but not in the professional sense, right? And I was looking for what it would be for me. I came across data analytics first. I like numbers. I was like, okay, nice, something to do. But along the way, I decided, okay, what would I be able to do, right, with my transferable skills I have from education, right, that would fit in and I would be able to um, transition seamlessly. That was how I also found product. So I know that data will get me to where I wanted to be, but product was more aligned to all I've done in the past. When you look at stakeholder management, when you look at understanding pain points, understanding your users, right? I could take that from education space where I was. So what I did was, how do I get in, right? I saw that there were trainings. I actually began some, but I targeted customer success. So I started out as a customer support officer at Reliance Health. And 3 months in, when there was an opening, I transitioned into product management. I would say it has been a fulfilling journey. Yeah, it has the ups and downs. And yeah, that's why we are here today, right? I learned how to manage my stakeholders, right? Working with the customer success team, very volatile team, right? And as they are feeling the heat from the customers, they transition it down to you. But yeah, I was able to learn how to manage my stakeholders, and we are here today.
How does it get to you from them? Because like there's one thing that comes from the customer support team, which is like they just like let you know that your product is shitty, like kind of thing. Like because
Yeah.
somebody have said this and that, and they just pass it on to you, and they will be like, customers cannot do this, customers cannot do that, can't you see this, can't you, how do you like manage all of this stuff? I mean, it's like for every other stakeholders or any other team that you're managing, the heat that comes from customer support about what you users really feel, it's like entirely different. Because I mean, you see what sometimes it's even that the customer doesn't even understand what he needs to do, but then they just like tell you that your product is not working and it's just not working. You know, like
Yeah.
not able to log in because he forgot his or password or just one numeric is not going, then he's telling you that you can't log in and your product is shitty and that's it. And you really don't even know where to start from. And you can log in and all those things. How do you like um, get over those things and actually see what is the problem and not from those words that come from them? Because most of the time I've worked with a support team that they don't let you know what it is. They just tell you that rubbish that they want to tell you. And you just have to take it and not react. How do you manage all of this?
Yeah. Okay, so I think for me it was easy because I was in their shoes once, right? I did that for 3 months. So I understood the pressure when they are coming. And being in the customer support team for an health insurance company is not like everything is an emergency, right?
Mhm.
Because it affects lives. So everything needs to be done like yesterday. And everybody's coming at you. So the way they are getting it from the customers, they are channeling it down to you. And like you can first of all scramble, right? But one thing I think was good for me was before even getting in, I understood my product. So
Mhm.
that's still like one of my major strengths. I know my product, even beyond the one I manage, I actually know the product. So it made it easier for me, right? So most times when they come, I say, okay, let's look through it. What do you think will be the problem? I created different documents and I kept updating. So I have documents for troubleshooting. So when a customer calls you about like I actually had to do that, right? I could see that sometimes from their escalations is a case of there's a gap in their product knowledge. If it is that of the customers, we try to have maybe more flows, explain it to them, emails, we do like just things to educate them more. But most times I find that it's always on my support area because the team is a team that moves fast. So we have people coming in, leaving, moving on to other teams. And so we are doing that retraining, and maybe something was left in the middle. So I always do what I did majorly, what I still do is I make sure that I understand where they are coming from, and then I help them by understanding the product, understanding where we are going to, right? How it works. So once I find out there's a product gap or a knowledge gap amongst my customers, right? I always work towards making sure that they understand what is happening or how to actually troubleshoot those cases. So those are the things I actually do. And there are times when they've actually given me great feedback that has helped me with improving the product. If they are, I know if I want to hear the
You
truth,
also
I know
like you also get the best feedback from them because in as much as they
I
give you
do.
the gas, the still the gas boost, they still like commend you. Sometimes they are the ones that remind you and say, "Oh, it's been a week and we do not have any complaint from this very feature that you've shipped." And you probably know you're not tracking it, and they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, that's true, that's nice." All those things. So in as much as they give you the gas
Yeah.
boost, it make you feel better sometimes. So I get and yeah, um, yeah. Thank you, and thank you for doing that breakdown. I love how you have been able to let us know what actually interests you in product management and what your journey is like from data analytics, and you were like, I think this stakeholder thing is my thing, and I think solving real life problem for people is my thing. And yeah, well done, and great work there. Beautiful thing is that our team did a good job to know that, oh, I think this is what you like, which is like stakeholder management, and this is what we will be discussing today. Um, so yeah, so how do you identify your key stakeholders? Everybody is a stakeholder in product. Any guy from each team, but who do you know that? How do you understand the diverse range of stakeholders? Who is involved? Who do you want to talk to for a certain thing, right? How do you and also how do you prioritize them? There are some guys that they are majorly not strong, but then when they give advice or when they say this is what it feels like, the support guys, right? They're really not really people that will tell you go and do this and you have to just go and do it. But sometimes it is that they are telling you from a pain point of what the customer is feeling, and you just have to prioritize it. Sometimes even more than what the CEO has asked you to do, because it's involving customers, which are like the major stakeholders. So yeah, how do you identify what to build first? Which stakeholders are you going to like put first?
Okay. Thank you. So for me, right, with identifying my stakeholders, I think is as clear as starting out with are they internal or external, right? And for me, my first team it was pretty easy. Well, I still think it's easy because at Reliance Health currently, you know your primary stakeholders are because you actually report you work closely with a particular team. It doesn't mean you won't have secondary stakeholders. So to identify my stakeholders, one of the things I do is are they internal or external? If they're internal, what exactly or who exactly are they? For example, when I was building a CRM, right, I already knew my stakeholders would be my customer support team, the enterprise sales team, and the retention team, right? It did not mean I didn't have external stakeholders, no matter how little they would be, right? It could be a prospect trying to get leads in, it could be clients already, even existing clients, because I'm building a CRM, they are still my stakeholders. I am able to identify my stakeholders by looking at my product or the problem I'm solving for, who has an impact. So when I've identified the internal versus the external, the next thing I now do is I look at the other, how important, right? Everybody cannot be on the same level in your stakeholder management process, right? You would have some stakeholders that yeah, they're nice to have because of their product knowledge. They've been in the company forever, so you know they understand everything about how it works. And you may have some that is about their business ideas, right? And I also have stakeholders that they are not particularly direct, like my product doesn't interface directly with theirs, but in the long run, they may need my APIs. They may need, so I need to make sure that everybody is on board. So I identify my stakeholders by knowing if they're internal, external first, then the order of importance. But I make sure that I carry everybody along because I don't want to have a product that goes out and somebody somewhere is telling me, why don't I know about this? You are calling an API that belongs to me. I want to know how it works. Like, why are we not in the decision making process? They may not do a whole lot sincerely because that's where stakeholder management comes in.
Mm-hmm.
But they always like to be aware of what's happening. So that's how, for me, I decide who my stakeholders are.
Yeah, they like to be involved. They have to be included in everything and make it look like they are the idea and they are the reason why you are building it. Even if you are not building it that way, even if I mean sometimes they will sort of like tell you what to do, and you tell them what you are going to do and make it look like it is what they are saying, and it just makes them comfortable. That's like one of the good thing about stakeholders management. So I mean, how do you build strong stakeholders relationship? This is how you balance their needs with the expectation of of these various stakeholders, sometimes including the customers and executives, even internal teams. And sometimes, how do you do that?
Yeah. So what I do, right, mostly is I try to first have a meeting with them. But before I do that, I always like to identify their interest.
Mm,
Like what is in it for this person. So if I'm bringing you in as a stakeholder, I'm telling you, you are on the enterprise sales team. I'm telling you this product will help you close more deals, right? It's revenue we're all talking about. They always want to meet their targets. They always want to make sure that they're bringing in money. So I speak the money language to them. If it's about retention, I also tell you with this product, it helps you renew easily. You can get your clients to you can retain your clients because there's a seamless process in assigning their plans, a whole lot of processes, right? But it's very simple. Customer support will always be my stakeholders because yeah, they're also part of the people that will help me inform my users about my product, right? The way they also take it in would help other teams also adopt the product or how it is perceived per se. So I believe that um I always like to speak their language. And most times I think in an organization it's not hard to know that. You would always know your company goals, your division goals. You always know what every team is striving for. And the idea is whatever product you are building, make sure you can tie it back to those goals. You can, if you are trying to be profitable, you can always tie your product back to being profitable, or helping them achieve profitability, helping them meet their KPIs, helping them even exceed, right? Or even make sure that their team is operationally efficient. They don't have to be doing things manually and the likes. So I believe that that's like one major thing with speaking your stakeholders language, right? You need to be able to know what they want or at least know what the business side of things is. So you just don't come and tell a stakeholder, so I'm building this product because I feel like the customer success team has been complaining a lot and I think it will profit them. So the others will be like, why am I here? So how does it boil down to me? So I think we need to be able to communicate very clearly, right? Um, in a way that every stakeholder feel like they have a stake in it, right? They can see how it interprets into the success of their teams.
yeah, yeah, awesome, awesome. I like how you like kind of talk a lot. Like talk like mention a lot, but like just sort of like summarize it. Which is like started from there has to be open communication and like stakeholders mapping. Um, my which is that you want to prioritize the customer support first because they are like sort of have like day-to-day interaction with the customers. You sort of like also listen to them. Like that's part of communication, which is like you want to know what they want to do. Transparency in this, in let them know what it will take you and stuff like that. And the cocoa is that you need to also let them know that how it's going to the project. Whatever feature that you are building is going to benefit them. Their team and the business at large. And you also say something around that you always listen to your customer support team. That's because coming from the empathy side, which is that you understand that whatever they are feeling is what has been passed on from the customers themselves upon to them, and they are also passing it to you. And you need to find a common ground to make sure that that is being resolved and also prioritized somehow. And yeah, you also mentioned flexibility, which is having to talk to all of these guys and make sure that um, um, and make sure that like you are aligned with the goals and um, you listen to them and just like sort of consolidate it and build something that like aligns with everybody. I mean, that's like a good one, and I like how you've sort of like, oh, I'm not sharing my video. I've been doing my hand since what I've been. I've been doing like this. How you like? So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and also like, what are your like communication strategies? Sort of, I think you already mentioned this, which is that,
Yeah, but I
yeah.
could just go over them again, right?
Mm,
So for me, I like to do everything. I'm an over communicator. I would
mm.
rather tell you something 500 times
No,
than
you know
tell you
what? You know what? People used to say. I mean, senior guys used to say, "There's nothing like over communicating."
there
So
is.
there
It
is
has
nothing
saved
like
my
that
life
now.
many
Because
times.
for every time that you talk about it, doesn't mean you are over. You are telling them, because I'm actually
Hmm,
kind of thing.
hmm.
I get.
See, for me, right, I feel like there is, because
Okay.
I've had people come and but also you have said this thing. You told us in the meeting, I'm like, don't worry, yeah, I get you, but yeah, just in case somebody was not there,
Yeah,
right? I
you
think the idea is, yeah,
get.
I think for me, why I still believe in over communicating is that, see, I've had people that I've spoken to. We've had like the entire conversation, and I thought that the agreement was final. And then we get to that point, and everybody's telling me no, they didn't know about this feature, or like in the early days, and I almost fainted. I was like, no, hold on, we had this conversation. And sometimes the only thing that saved me was as simple as sending a summary of what the meeting was, right? Has saved me many times. And I just refer back, okay, so let's check the chat for the meeting. And I do a screenshot. I remember that after the meeting, I just summarize the points, the actions, the agreement, what we agreed on, and that's fine. Sometimes I send them back to emails. Sometimes I send them back to the release channels. Like there are a whole lot, right? Sometimes I even have a document where I put, okay, actions, who is doing what, and we track it, we follow it. But one thing I found
Like my
out with
ignition
communication,
documents.
one thing I found out about with communicating to stakeholders, right, and across different channels or patterns is that it helps them, it sticks in their mind. So very soon, by the time they are seeing me, they know, "Oh, this is the person about the CRM." So anytime I come up, okay, what's happening with our CRM? Like it almost becomes like that project I'm currently working on, 5 people can tell you about it. And so when they see me, hey, how is your project going? Right. And I always like it that you see me and you can identify me or tag me to a particular product or to a particular project I'm working on. So I like to make it that, see, you are sleeping, you are waking up, you know that this is what Tosin is on, and it's not just a project, right? It's something we are all doing together. So I need you here. I need you to give me feedback here, or do this, or even just follow on with us on the project, even though you are maybe a minor stakeholder or what, or whatever it is, right? But
Mhm.
that fact to communicate and make sure that everybody knows what is happening at each point in time. If I begin to have questions like, oh, when is the product being released? I know that there's a problem with my communication. That's how I take it personally. If you begin to ask me questions that I probably outlined at the start of the project, right? Or things that I've taken you through my roadmap. We know where we are at. And then somebody comes and say, oh, when are we releasing this? I know that, okay, there may be a problem with communication, or somebody has missed or has dropped off. And I always like to go just to reiterate again, this is the roadmap, this is where we are at, this is where we are going to, and the likes. And then just to make it all better.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, like everybody can take one thing from this, which is that there is nothing like over communication. Or okay, she said there is over communication. Anyways, she said there is over communication. The cocoa is that the reason why there is nothing like over communication is that you cannot overemphasize how many times you have to tell people about something if you are building it. I mean, some people will even come and tell you that, why did you not say it again? Why did you not do this? Like it's things that you will always find when in the world of product management. It's people will forget and just blame it on you. Thank you so much. So yeah, there's another thing which is that how do you manage the gas goals that comes from the stakeholder? I think we already like talked about it from the customer support standing point. But then, I mean, the major stakeholders, I'm talking of the big guys right now, the C guys. I mean, how do you
Yeah.
get their feedback and how do you like put them, I mean,
Mhm.
manage them and add them into your product roadmap or product mission or strategy, basically.
Okay, so first off, right, I won't lie, I've had like the best stakeholders so far till date. I won't lie. No, I won't lie.
Shout out to
I
the
won't lie,
Reliance team.
right?
I hope they see this.
I won't lie. I think I've had the best stakeholder so far,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Till
awesome.
date. Everybody is interested in making the product work,
Mm,
right? So they don't give you unnecessary hard time. And as long as you can explain why you are prioritizing something or why your roadmap is going this way, or yeah, they bring a request. And so sometimes I also use my relationships with them, right? I know them personally. So beyond the product, I reach out to them. I'm checking up on you. How's it going? You know, you looked dull in the meeting. Sometimes I can even mention it on the call. Oh, you don't look bright today. What's happening? Like, I make sure that I touch them
notes,
beyond the product.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, so like I sincerely try to reach them beyond the product, right? I try to notice everything, maybe something very small. I found out about people that were a quarter to leave and they were very unengaged, or they were no longer being engaging. And I reached them, are you okay? You seem not to be connected anymore. And that's how I found out they were leaving. And at the point they were leaving, they were able to say, ah, well, that's one thing, like it was one of my strengths that I could tell I was the only one that could. So I like to make sure that beyond just, oh, we come for the business and all that, I relate with you personally. Sometimes I just reach out to you one on one. Aside from giving these general group updates or like dropping meetings or with everybody, I like to make sure that at least my closest stakeholders, the ones that like their impact on my product is very high, we all have that relationship.
Awesome.
Sometimes I set up one-on-ones to, okay, is there a problem? Sometimes I don't even do it group. If I find out you don't understand, I can just set up a call with you, come to the call. I don't mind going through demos. I love to demo my product or what I'm trying to achieve, right? So I take you through, okay, this
So
is the
what
problem
really
we
makes
are identifying, this problem identified, this is the research we did, this is why we are going this route. I make sure that you understand. I give you information, I give you data, I give you everything you need, right? To make sure that you understand where I'm going to, right? But there are times where I've still had like very difficult stakeholders. I think one of them was, well, I would, it's kind of recent. I'll still use that, right? You know, I said I transitioned in December to a new team, and I inherited a project that just started and I was working on it. So, you know, the process of trying to understand the products, like they were like three because that team is quite large. I'm like working with two in one team. So I was trying to understand everything and we needed something from the providers team, and quickly just sent a message to the PM. I need this from your team, this and that. Oh, it's something they were doing or looking to do in the future. I'm like, okay, so it affects us now because I need to call your provider API. How do I do this and all that? Can you help me get your team, your stakeholders to do this? I drafted out a document and I shared with her, right? And when next thing I heard was they don't understand what's happening, they don't understand the project, where this is coming from. Remember, I said I inherited it. So somewhere in the back of my mind, I probably didn't link that fact that, oh, these people may not be aware of the entire story, even though one part of the product has been released. They may not understand the entire story. And I got on a call, they called me into one of their review sessions, and I started hearing that I shared. So once I heard them talking, I was like, okay, so these people don't understand the entire picture. So doing this task, it doesn't really tie to them, right? But I need them, so I have to actually come down to their level. On that
Mhm.
chat, I started sending them the design files, and like they were telling me this is the first time they've seen that. So I said, oh, it's fine. 2 days later, I created, like, I sent an invite, invited everybody that matters on that team. I just went around asking, so do you want to join? Do you want to join? Please share it with others if you need them to be on the call. And I started from scratch, even though we released a part of the product. And I explained, this is what it is, this is where we are trying to get to, this is what we need from you, and this is how you would help us. This is what it translates on our end. This is how it helps our users. This is how it helps us get more leads, and this is how it helps us be profitable and get more revenue. And when I was done, I found out everybody was like, okay, now we understand where we are going to. Right. I even went as far as providing data I know they can get themselves, but I got the data for them because, like, I'm also extending an olive branch to them, so they don't feel like I'm not communicating or there's a problem with my team or myself, right? So I went ahead as making their work easier. What could I do? So those were things I did, right? At first, when it started, I was like, what's happening? It took me a while because, as I said, if part of the product has been released, I was expecting it to go smoothly, but then, well, that's something to learn too. So I did all that, and sincerely, right, we are all aligned at a point that They may not be able to work at my pace, but the good thing is an API. So whenever they finish, it just updates, maybe 2 hours lag, and then we are all fine, right? So yeah, that's one time I would say I had stakeholders that were like secondary, as I said, and it almost went south, but I was able to redeem it. And right now, they know
What?
what to talk about those things.
Sorry. I joke a lot. Sorry, I joke a lot when I hear South. I sort of like tell people that you brought it back to the north, or yeah. That's like a good one. I mean, I like the fact that you're understanding the individual differences and individual relationship, and that's like the major thing in product management. You deal with a lot of people. You need to understand how this person thinks and how you should approach this person. There are some guys in the company that you can even call them some crazy ass name and they can take it because that's what they call you. And there's somebody that doesn't even take one line of insult, right? You need to be able to. You have to work with them. You can't choose them, right? Sometimes you cannot choose them. I mean, for a case that you even inherit a team, you inherit a project. Ah man, you have apologies. Sorry. I mean, it's what it is. You should be able to. It's one of the, I mean, the powers of product manager, which is that you need to know how to relate with different kind of people, different kind of ideas. It is how you want to explain a technical product to a support person that is not technical at all. You need to come down to their level, have a conversation with them. You are even doing it to an intern. Like this is the first time he's coming into the tech world. You just left uni last week and he's in your team. You have to explain, you have to manage that person. He doesn't even know what late coming is like. After you're joining a meeting after a 0-1, and yeah, you sort of like if you want to do the normal thing, which is like probably reach out to that person and send an epistle, be like, I'm just late for 1 minute. Why are you sending me an epistle? The person doesn't understand. I mean, it's how it is. It is how you're able to do a lot of that, and I mean, you take it up to the higher level, which is like the stakeholders, guys, and you're able to. I think I'll take that from you also. Though I mean, also be fortunate to work with. I call my engineering team my second family, anyways. So that we sort of like connect, but sometimes you still have people that, I mean, because they try to do some things and you just want to leave it at work alone, right? Because, but then I think it's nice. It will be on my side to make sure that I check on them outside work, and it's not just every other day that it's work. So that when you call them, they just know that it doesn't mean that it's work. It could be that
Yeah, well, well, for engineers, right? You see, I didn't even mention them so far because I feel like we're all on the same team at this point, right? I don't see them as my stakeholders anymore. In short, they've called me different names and told me it just remains for me to enter the code with them and all that, right? So
you know,
yeah,
sometimes you give them tasks, I will be like, you still come and code it. You come and
some
code
yeah.
it.
Honestly, share I will doing myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like sometimes I just use those to banter to make them know that see we are all in this together, right?
Mhm.
And it is just a success for every one of us. I think that's another thing too. I've heard a lot of stories about working with developers and I've not experienced it. About the best guys so far. And even those I felt like were not on board completely. I just had sessions with them, right? Okay, so where are you coming from? What's the idea? How does it work where you are coming from? Then I explain where we are coming from, right? I always find out that people appreciate a whole lot of where we are at if I give them a backstory of where we are coming from. So, see, 2 months ago, in short, as far back as just last week before you came, things were a mess, and this
Yeah.
was like, yeah. So you just so that see, so where if you think this is not up to your standard, we've actually come a long way. Let's appreciate it. It may be slow, but we are getting there.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Thank you. So yeah, I think like this would be the last question. I mean, you've touched down everything, and I mean, so how do you keep performance indicators? I mean, for stakeholders, right? In as much as they do all of their thoughts, they feel like have metrics to which they measure what you are doing in your team and your product basically. And I mean, for the organization in general, how do you like demonstrate the value of what you have delivered to them, kind of thing.
Thank you. So one thing I came because yeah, I'll still say that my data team is still in progress, right? So it means that you can't get everything from where your product is live. Like you can't get 100% from when it's live. And then when I joined, also there were a lot of things we didn't have visibility into. So the first thing I did was I spoke to the data science team. We used to also have a PM for that team, and I told him, see, especially my customer success stakeholders, they want to be able to have this data so they can plan how the schedule of the team works. They can know if they are hiring more um, support agents, if they need to branch out into something. And I did two things, right? First off, I built a product. It's called the customer feed system, right? And this product helps the support team log in every customer conversation they have. So
Awesome.
if a prospect calls and say, "Oh, I would like to buy a plan. I want a family plan, and currently we don't have a family plan like per se for retail." Um, okay, this is what we have. This is how you can use it. The document is this person reached out about this kind of plan. So I made sure that I had structure, right? So there are preset labels they select from, there are categories, all they are entering in free text is a description. Every other thing they can select it. So it makes it very easy to also get data from that, right? So I made sure that all our customer points, and we're not collecting this before. So if somebody comes, I am from the customer support team and asks now, I want to know the top complaints that our customers are making today. There was nowhere to get that data. So I saw that the first thing to do was at least, I know that as I said, the data team has not gotten to that point, but I could build product or a product that would help us at least streamline those conversations. That I built that product, and we're able to, you can view complaints across a period of time, the day. You can drill down to what type of complaint is it, what team does it actually impact, right? And it was beautiful. When we did that, the next thing I did was I now decided to write a what I called a customer experience dashboard. I wrote a documentation for a data dashboard. And what is this? Remember that customer field system I said I built?
Mm-hmm.
Every data point. So you give me the number of complaints. I want to be able to see complaints across a customer type by
Mm-hmm.
labels. I did all that. I documented. I wrote the filters, what filters I would like to have, even old product that we had before, right? But there was no data point for it. I listed out all the products, what I wanted to see from it.
Awesome.
I shared that document with the support team. They went
Awesome.
through it. I didn't get much feedback, so I knew everybody was busy. I set up a meeting. I got on the call and I explained everything to them, right? This is what we are trying to achieve. I know you've been asking for data, you want to understand this and that. And we've gotten to a part where even I myself, I want to see how these things are doing, right? And we all had that synergy and I shared the document. So right now, for my team, they can see, and CSAT is one of their feedback, right? So now they can see their CSAT on a dashboard on Tableau that
Mm.
shows them um, that shows them the amount of complaints they get. So they can filter complaints. They want to see the CSAT score for a type of user and the likes, right? They can see that now. We've not gotten to where we want to get to, but the basic things, right? You can find it. You don't
Yeah.
have to need to ask your agents to manually note them down or jot them down. You can see how long it takes to have a conversation. You can tell the customer satisfaction level of our customers that reach out via the support. If they have issues, also we can pinpoint to say, okay, so for this month now, the highest issue we've had has been around drug deliveries, or the next one we've had has been around wait time, the experience when they go to providers, right? And then this product and this data, right, has helped us identify our top complaint drivers. And what are we doing this year? We are working on reducing them, because we are actually we're trying to achieve 50, yes, MPS of 50 this year. We did 42 last year. The goal was 44. We did 42 from 32, I guess. So yeah, we still did a whole lot last year. So we're trying to make sure that we have that good NPS with our users. And when they have complaints, coupled with the document, this product I mentioned, we can see the problems that our current customers are currently facing, and also still work towards fixing them. That's for the customer support. Now for the new team I'm on, right? Um, I'm also doing that same thing, because I see that they do have some sort of data, but there are some other things they don't have, or that is not in a good format right now. Is on a dashboard that I would say if anything happens there right now, I cannot even work on it. I'm not sure the year anybody has been on that, or even working on it may break something else, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
what I'm doing is I'm also replicating that. I'm creating a data dashboard document for that team. We'll work on it together. look at it and share it with the data team and get a timeline for where it can be built. So at that way, my major stakeholders, and funny enough, even those who are not my direct stakeholders but want to know how their teams are doing in relation to maybe from the customer success, like that product gives them and like a listening here to just go and say, okay, so what are users saying today about my team? What are their complaints? What are the top complaints? Where are we dropping the ball? So this is how I've been able to help all stakeholders manage their current team, what they work on, their projects, and how to make sure that we have better user satisfaction across board.
Thank you. Aside like well, how you've mentioned that, I mean, KPIs are being tracked. I like one thing that you mentioned about sharing people's document and they didn't reach out and you have to set up a call. I mean, this is like one of the key things in product management. You need to be able to like follow up and get feedback. People will be busy. That's just it. You just need to like make sure that this thing is important because I'm dragging you guys to this call. I mean,
Yeah,
even if you are not going to get the totality of it, let's get a part of it and let's start running with it. I love that. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much. And yeah, there's one personal thing I would like to ask you.
Thank
We
you.
know like product managers are not technical, yeah. I mean, what is it like for you? Do you want to be technical at some point? Do you want to like do you want to start coding or do you want to be
Mhm.
a new thing for product managers, which is like API product managers, right? Do you want to be there? I mean, it's more like you have to understand what uh, some part of what code base is like and what databases are like before you can be that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So for me, it's not at the top of my list, right? But it's something I've actually I knew was important to at least know the basics. That's my own. I think what I tell people is don't be obsessed with being technical from the start. I even believe it's a blessing not be technical at first because it gives you a fresh eyes. It allows you to see or to be focused on the user and your customers.
yeah,
Yeah, not really about the technical. How does it happen? What would it be like? How shiny would it be? Like that's my opinion, anyways. But yeah, I
yeah.
believe that.
My people, did you hear that? It is not important that you have to be technical. This is why
Yeah,
like, just hand it over to the engineering team. Just say what you want and hand it over to them. Let them go and think about the technicality. I mean, thank
yeah.
you.
So yeah, because I know that if you also add, is very overwhelming to be a product manager because you have like 705 things drawing your attention all at once,
You have
right?
like
And if you want to add,
501
and if
to attend. Stakeholders are dragging you, engineers are dragging you,
yeah,
customers do not feel like
see,
marketing team are saying they need this thing to do that thing. Like they say,
mm-hmm,
oh, man, you still want to now
yeah,
want to know how code
yeah.
works,
So
really, really.
if you really want to add that, I feel like at that point just do everything because like that's a lot. I
Yeah,
I can attend some of their meetings here, their planning meeting or development meetings on how they want to do things and just provide product knowledge or what I want or
exactly.
make sure
Just
that
to
I
understand.
reiterate my acceptance criteria that see, I
Mhm.
don't know how you want to do it, but when you are doing it, make sure that it covers this. As long as your user stories and acceptance criteria are super clear and your period is clear, you've gone over it with them. I really don't sit on their calls to know how they want to do it. That's their job, right?
Yeah,
But I make sure that they understand that this is the end goal, this is where we're arriving at. It doesn't still mean that I've not had people reach out to me. In short, there was a time when we didn't have an engineering manager on my team in the early days.
yeah.
And I yes, I've looked at architectural diagrams. I've looked at see, I've done a whole lot of sitting on and the beautiful thing is I learned from it and I ask questions. I say, okay, so what are you showing me? What do you want me to show me? What do you want me to understand here? And they tell me and I say, okay, explain to me like I'm five. I go to read about it and I actually did learn from it, right? And at
Yeah,
this point, I know that I've even gone into code to look into code base and say we are looking for something. What's the problem? And they call me. Remember, I said I have so much product knowledge. So even for the ones that are not my like core product, right? If they call me and say, okay, show me the code, let me see, and I go through the lines and I can tell you, okay, this is where the issue is, or this is what it used to be, and give you use cases of where we the product used to be and like where they what they need to change or fix, whatever the case may be. The idea is understand your architecture, understand the tools your engineers are using. If you need to reach out to them, okay, what tools do you use? Read up on it and come back and say, okay, is this what it means? Is this like I remember when we're transitioning from monolith to microservice architecture, I had to go and read up on it. I wasn't planning to write the code, right? So I believe that it's better you have an idea or a knowledge of what is happening, keep up with the trends, right? What is AI right now, Internet of Things, Web3, what is actually in vogue? Learn about it, understand them, but you don't necessarily have to be technical. You may get to a part in your life when you now decide, okay, I know everything on the product side. I really want to add something, and then you decide, oh, I want to be technical. For me, if I when I get to that point, which is maybe soon, I can't tell, but
You're
what I
already doing PRs, ma'am. So we are there already.
so
You're
I
already,
think
somebody showing you good things and you can tell what is wrong. Ma'am, you're technical already.
so
That's what
so I
technicality
think
is about. I mean, if you can say something to an engineer and it's relatable, that's what it is. To be honest, that's where it
yeah,
starts.
yeah,
And personally, talking about KPIs and dashboard analytics, right, for your products. I have built products in Nigeria and Kenya at some point, and there's nothing, no metrics to count. I did not build that, right? And that's why, like maybe kind of like the founding members of Proba, because I mean the founders here were like was one of those guys that told me, how do you have this kind of big product and you don't have somewhere you want to look at data? I'm like, hey, is it necessary? Say yes now. I said, oh really? And like I'm that like I really do not just know. So I have like a bit because I also like came from data analytics side, and I sort of like have super good relationship with the data scientists then. So whenever I want to look at things, I say, give me the code. I go into give me the query. I go into the database and query it. So if you ask me that, how many customers do we have? That's what I go do. It's not like I have a dashboard I'm looking at, right?
mhm,
And so it's like that. And I mean, you learn a lot, right? And it is also important that for every product you are building, inside that document already outline how you want to track it, what you guys want to track, what success is like for you guys, what done is like for you guys. I mean, sometimes it's not even the number of users that is your done. It is maybe how much money is giving you guys. Maybe. So if that
yeah,
is also like how you want to manage your stakeholders' expectation and build that from the scratch. As soon as you are
yeah,
building that product, the data science team is building what you want to track from day one. You are launching, they are looking at it. In short, you are testing, you are looking at that dashboard to see whether it's reflecting. I mean, thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that
yeah.
back. I just want to like
I think yeah.
chip in
I
my
think
part.
another thing I think another thing is what you just mentioned, right? So I know that if I'll be getting technical, maybe looking at the analytics part, I actually like
Mhm.
to see how my product is doing, understand how it interfares with other product, or like I like to look at data, just going and be like, so this is where we are at. Like I can stay there for hours. Like I
It's a
actually
joy
love to
giver, to be honest. It's a joy.
like you just get okay, let's
Really?
look at this one.
Nice.
I can stay on Google Analytics and just be like, where is this one going to? Why left on the app? Like, what exactly? Like, it makes me see, like, yeah. And if you don't have these things, really, you don't even understand. You are just, it's like you're just doing this thing we used to do in university, like, cram, la, po, like,
Mhm.
I mean, whatever. Like, as you're,
And,
that's
and
how it just becomes if you don't have
the bad thing
analytics.
about it is that you don't know what to build next
Yes.
because you're tracking nothing. You don't know what to build
Yes.
next. You sort of
And even
like,
the one you built, you don't know what it's doing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank you
actually,
so much. Thank you so much for all this thing that you have brought to us. Thank you. Um, um, yeah, it's like one of like the craziest thing to do in product management is to manage stakeholders, right? After that product that you are building, and then because you are not going
yeah.
to
You're not going to use it yourself.
you are not going to use it yourself.
And you won't be there when they are speaking about you or the product, right?
That's
So
like the
and it
that's
shapes how you work with other stakeholders. That's one thing that
mm,
I always, it may not be easy, but one thing I always like to remember is I'm only working with two stakeholders today, but those two may speak to the next two I need to work with next week, and they will come with guns because like I'm like, why are you so difficult? Because of what they might have heard in the past. So I always
mhm,
like to make sure that all my stakeholders are satisfied. We're at the point where we are all aligned. We don't have any bad case of like, at this point, if you want to kill yourself, or if I've done my best. I always like to still go the extra mile and make sure that I have it documented. We can all see that, see, we've come to this agreement, we've come to this conclusion, we've come to, yeah, if things have to change, they change, but we
mhm.
all know that it's clear.
But
So if you're
it's
speaking to the
metrics,
next
it's
person,
data.
Yeah,
not yeah, like we are all
right.
aligned because I mean
Yeah,
we thought about it and we built it and
because
we did
yeah,
it's not saying that oh you are right, oh you are wrong, oh okay we should not build this next. Oh
because
we should
I sometimes see where how you manage one stakeholder would affect the next, right?
Mhm,
Or how they come difficult or easy to manage.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm thanking everyone for staying back. I mean, this is like
Thank you.
good start for the year. It's like this is like one of the major headache for all product managers. Sometimes you even know what to build. Sometimes you know, but because you don't have relationship, that person. Sometimes you don't even know how to communicate. That thing is
Yes,
another thing. Oh, you don't even know
yes.
how to communicate, and it just looks like you don't know what you're saying. But in the real sense, I mean, I've worked with like a product team like for part time, and this guy was saying that thing from day one, and we did not listen because the guy doesn't. It doesn't look like the guy knows what he's saying. Then we now got
Mm-hmm.
it like that's what he was saying. I was like, ah, so that was what you were saying, really,
Yeah.
really. Like you were saying rubbish. This is what you were saying. This is what we translated to be. And he was like, no, this is what he was saying. This is what it did. I was like, ah. It just it waste engineering time, waste everybody's time, and
Yeah.
I mean, if you are not good with communication, I think you should try something else. It's. I'll go and work on it. Basically, just go and work on it.
Yeah.
Communication is like key for product managers. Even when you are selling rubbish, you sell the
Mm-hmm.
rubbish with communication, and they'll just take it, and they'll
Yeah.
forget to blame you. So it is, but don't sell rubbish, please. We don't, this is Africa. We don't have a lot of time to waste, please. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. I mean, thank you
Thank
for
you so much.
yeah,
It was really
yeah,
an exciting session for me. I
yeah,
can
and
keep speaking on and on about stakeholder management, like because I think it's one of the parts of the job I love, right?
mhm, mhm,
And yeah, it helps your job go easy or hard or difficult,
mhm.
whichever one you want. So actually
Don't worry.
mastering it and
Don't,
understanding how it works is
don't worry. My stakeholder don't trouble me. I'm coming to your DM straight up.
my DM is open.
Yeah, as always, guys, make sure you subscribe to to our YouTube channel. Follow. We have a Slack channel. Please make sure you join. Nifemi will be sharing that alongside with our Oga Parapata here. We train product managers, sort of like help them identify what is missing in whatever they are training, whatever they have trained them, and give them real life scenario while we train them, guide them. We have like stages, junior guy, the guy who just wants to transition into product management, a senior guy, and also a guy that is trying to be more technical, right? We have all of this in product program, and we have like a lot of gems. We connect you with work. We make sure that when you have issues, you can always talk to any of the team members. We are happy to help you out, right? We know, like, um, it's funny how the every other technical department in engineering and products get helps easily, but for product managers, it's sometimes people are shy to say they don't know how to build this next feature, which is fine. It's super fine. You
Yeah.
just need to talk to some guy, right? It's not even in this startup era where people are building one thing today and next thing they are moving into another thing, right? You,
Yeah.
you sort of
Yeah.
mentioned that you're already building CRM, and I mean it's not even what I was thinking of what Reliance is all about. But then it's you're already building that thing, right? And yeah, kudos to you guys. Kudos to um, the great product managers out there. Kudos to everybody that is surviving and trying to build something out there. And I think that people don't really rate us. I mean, they just like rate the engineer. They're forgetting that the ideas actually start from the product guy who did the research.
Well,
And
sometimes it can be a thankless job.
exactly. So I mean, just know that I mean, you will get there, right? You'll be celebrated, and if not for anything, we'll celebrate your approval, right? Um, until the next time, keep innovating, keep learning, keep being passionate about the world of product management and its innovation. This is Muideen Nakoni signing off. Take care, and remember that your next great product idea might just be around the corner. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.